Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so as promised, we're going to make a prediction on this NBA Finals matchup between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Indiana Pacers. Finally getting around to making this video. I've listened to some of my favorite people talk about it, so I may be a little influenced by their opinions, but ultimately I want to break down this thing myself and see what I think of it. So we'll do our best here. So I'm looking, they only played each other twice. Of course, Eastern Interconference matchups only played twice. So the Thunder and the Pacers. First matchup was a game in Indy that went 120-114. Now, I think the understanding is that what's my guy's name? Hartenstein did play, but my head's gone blank. What's that kid's name who did not play in this game? The center for the Oklahoma City Thunder did not play. Chet Holmgren did not go for either one of those games, so that's gonna be a big talking point in regards to just understanding that he's not representing any of the regular season matchups. But the Thunder still got the wins in both of them. 120-114 in the first one, 132-111 in the second one. So they didn't have any problem with the Pacers. I don't know if that really tells a story necessarily, because of course this is the finals, different all the way around. The first game was, let me see, the timing, the date was 12/26, so the day after Christmas, and the second one was just not too long ago, 3/29, near the end of the season. So yeah, this is what we see here, and the Thunder had their way with these guys, man. The Thunder have been a dominant basketball team all season long. As I mentioned many times in talking about the Thunder, they only lost to teams that were contenders, that we were considering contenders, and quite honestly, nobody thought the Pacers would be a contender. We knew they were a playoff team, and we knew they went to the Eastern Conference Finals last year, but I don't think anybody expected them to perform as well as they did and for things to shake out for them to actually be in the finals. So they weren't one of the teams that OKC lost to, and that's just kind of a prelude to what I think a lot of people expect is going to be the case going forward. It's noteworthy to say that Jarace Walker is out for Game 1 tonight at 5:30 in Oklahoma City Thunder. There will be no Jarace Walker. He's starting to make a name for himself in these playoffs, getting some minutes here and there and doing some good things. Isaiah Jackson, of course, out for the season. And Tony Bradley is a game-time decision for Game 1 for the Pacers. And Nikola Topic is the only guy out for the Thunder who's been out all year. He'll have his official rookie season next year, Nikola Topic. What was he, the third overall pick or something like that in this previous draft? A very good player. The rich get richer. So, just glancing at these stats, I haven't had a chance to really even look over them, so I'm looking over them for the first time right now. And that 120-114 matchup where the Thunder got a 6-point win, Thunder shot 46% from the field, 35% from the three, and not 79% from the free throw line, that kind of thing. The boards 51-45. The Pacers did win the boards there, but of course, again, no Holmgren, so that kind of can be skewed by that. Pacers did walk away with 28 assists, which is a good thing for them, especially given the fact they're going up against an elite defense. 4 steals for the Thunder, no surprise there. 8 blocks for the Pacers, that's a little bit of a surprise. The Pacers turned the ball over 11 times, 17 points conceded off of those, and the Thunder only turned the ball over 3 times and only conceded 3 points off of those turnovers. Believe me, if the Thunder only turned the ball over 3 times, they're not losing whatever game that is. I can tell you that right now. So the Pacers need to find a way to force steals and, most importantly, not turn the ball over. Now, the Pacers are very good at not turning the ball over, but they haven't faced a defense like this. This is OKC's defense is entirely different, and that's just what there is to expect there. Points in the paint, OKC won that 50-38, and the foul differential was pretty even, 21-18, and the Pacers had the most there. Since this game was like one day after Christmas, I don't think there was any real changes to the roster for either team, to be honest with you. T.J. McConnell was 6-9 off the bench for 13 points. Jarace Walker, of course, not playing tonight, has 12 points, 5 rebounds in that game. So I think this is a matchup where when Jarace gets back, he can really help the Pacers because he provides him a certain level of strength and athleticism and youth off of the bench that I think could really be beneficial to the Pacers in this particular matchup. Ben Mathurin had 18 points. He's going to be key in this series. Tyrese Halliburton only had 4 points, 8 assists. He's going to have to be aggressive scoring the ball. You cannot have a 4-point Tyrese Halliburton game at any point in this series. That cannot happen. Nembhard ate well against them, man. 23.7 assists and 9 rebounds in that first matchup. Had a block, too. So that's something to pay attention to. If Nembhard can have confidence against the Thunder and play like this throughout the course of the series, that could be great for them. Miles Turner, a double-double, 12 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists, 5 blocks. And Pascal Siakam had a 22-point, 10 rebound game there, 7 of 14 shooting from the field, 5 of 7 from the 3. They're going to need Pascal to score like that throughout the course of this series in order for them to have a shot. Meanwhile, the Thunder in that first game, Shea went for Shea-type numbers, 45 points, 2 blocks, 1 steal, 8 assists, 7 boards, plus 10, 2 blocks. Did I mention that? Got to the line 11 times, hit all of them, hit 4 out of 5 threes, 15 of 22 from the field. Just an MVP performance from the MVP of the season. And that doesn't bode well. When you consider what this Thunder's team is about, one thing that comes to mind immediately is just the excellence of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and his ability to hit you with a flurry of scoring throughout the course of 48 minutes. So I would imagine that's what we can expect to see, nothing short of probably 29 points a game. It's going to be ugly. Isaiah Hartenstein had 34 minutes in this game. I've been hearing a lot of people more or less say that they don't think Hartenstein is big for this series. He probably shouldn't start because you want to exploit Chet Holmgren at the center position to create more opportunities to spread the floor and the speed. Hartenstein's a bit slower in a situation going up against the Pacers. It might not be in their best interest to utilize Hartenstein going up against the Pacers. So we'll see. But Hartenstein did have a double-double in this game. Lou Dort had 13.7 rebounds. And I don't see AC. I don't think he played in this one at all. No AC. So definitely got to account for what he's going to do. Wallace had 2 points, 2 steals, 1 assist, and 2 rebounds. He gets his money on the defensive end, but he can score better than this, and I'm sure he will throughout the course of the series. So, yeah, man, that's really what it was there. A double-double from the front court of the Pacers. Siakam and Turner definitely ate well. Big game from Nembhard, but Shea with the MVP line made it a little difficult and made up for Chet's absence. And in the second matchup, when they went back to Oklahoma, it was a little more of a blowout. And we'll check out these stats right now as I click around to it. 132-111. And see what the team stats show us. Pacers shot 44% from the field. The Thunder shot 51%. The Thunder shot very well from behind the arc, 17 of 36 for 47%. The Pacers attempted 42 threes, hit 14 of them for 33%. That's not great. Pacers got to the line more. That's a recipe for success. 19 of 26 for them, 19 of 23 for the Thunder. So both of these teams get to the line a lot, to say the least. The Thunder won the boards on this one, 47 to 43. 27 assists for the Pacers, 26 for the Thunder. Yeah, that's a lot of assists that the Pacers are expected to put up against this defense. I don't know if that holds up. They had 28 in the first game, 27 in the second game. I don't know if that's something I'd expect too much in the finals. I just think that the Oklahoma City Thunder's clamp defense is going to try to keep some of that ball movement to a null, and if they're able to, they can end the series rather quickly. But if Tyrese Halliburton's having 15 assists game, doing all types of stuff like he did in game, what was it, 4? Or what was it, game 4, I believe it was, where he went for 1 million assists, 1 million points, and no turnovers. Yeah, I don't know if he can duplicate that against this defense, but if he does, I think the Pacers will win whatever game that takes place in. So the assist category is something I'm circling here because it seems like the Indiana Pacers have had a lot of success getting their offense going one way or another. They are not having trouble against OKC in that regard. Turnovers, a bit more reasonable in this one. The Thunder had 10 turnovers, 7 points conceded off of those. They were really good at that. In fact, they were the best in the league at that. Not only do they force more turnovers than everybody else, but they commit less turnovers than everybody else, and that's going to be a story as well in this series. If the Pacers can find a way to impose a little bit of pressure on the Thunder to force them into abnormal amounts of turnovers for their standards. I don't know if they can do that. But the Pacers are a good defensive team, but this is a different level here going up against this team. The Pacers had 13 turnovers, 10 points conceded off of those. That's not bad. They actually, all things considered, it looks like the Pacers offense was able to maneuver a little bit against OKC. But OKC was abnormally good scoring the ball, especially from behind the arc. 17 to 36 is not something I expect from OKC too often. When they get this hot, it's night, even when you're able to get your scoring going. So that's what I see there. 58 points in the paint for the Thunder, 40 for the Pacers. That's a lot of SGA, I'd imagine, driving at the rim, stuff like that. And the Pacers at one point had a 10-point lead in this game and ended up losing by over 20 points. And at one point, the Thunder had a 25-point lead. So the Pacers were able to get out the big leads on both of these games, if I'm not mistaken. But they just couldn't sustain them, and that I wonder if that's going to be something we see in these finals. So let's look at the Pacers' stats. Pascal only had 11 points, 9 rebounds, 4 of 11 from the field, 1 of 5 from 3. If he has a game like that, he's going to lose in it. They're going to need him to score a lot. They're going to need him to be very aggressive. A minus 22, that can't. The Pacers can't win if that's what's going on there. Pascal is going to have to be consistent. He's going to have to play well. Aaron Naismith, 7 points, 1 steal, 1 block, 4 rebounds. Aaron Naismith has had a really good playoffs. He only had 22 minutes in this game. Of course, a lot of that has to do with garbage time. I think it's noteworthy to say that Pascal only had 27 minutes. So they played a lot of their bench in this one with that garbage time, and that's understandable. Miles Turner had 11 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist. Yeah, 2 of 6 from the field. You need more aggression from these guys if the Pacers are going to have any success in this series. Their aggression needs to be significantly more impactful than it was in this second regular season matchup. Nembhard, 6 of 13 from the field, 16 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds. Pretty solid stat line, 6 of 13 from the field, 1 of 4 from 3. Nembhard seems to have a lot of confidence against the Pacers. I wonder if that carries over into these finals, because Nembhard is more than capable of being a monster. Lord knows, as a Laker fan, we know that, because he shot us down and locked us up in a basketball game about 3 years ago where he broke out for the very first time, if you ask me. Tyrese Halliburton, 18 points, 2 steals, 3 assists, 4 rebounds, 50% from the field, 4 of 9 from 3. He was good, but not enough. Needs to get more assists going. It seemed like it was assists by committee in that game. Obi Toppin had 5 assists. Jarrett Walker had 4 assists. Another Jarrett Walker game where he had 10 points, 4 assists, 1 steal, 4 rebounds. Probably some garbage time minutes there, but Jarrett Walker did have 2 pretty solid games against the Thunder, and I think that's something to circle, even though he's starting the series hurt. Obi Toppin had 12 points, 5 assists, as I mentioned, 3 rebounds, 5 of 9 from the field, 2 of 6 from the 3. I just think that the Pacers need to just, in my humble opinion, they need everybody to be ultra aggressive. I don't know if that means speeding the pace up even more than what they're used to using, because they are a high speed running team. But I feel like their offense needs to be the focal point in trying to run the score all the way up. They're one of the best offenses over the last 2 years. This is one of the best defenses in the history of basketball at this point. But one thing you want to do if you're the Pacers is lean in your strengths, because if this is a low scoring game, if there's a low scoring series or whatever, you're not gonna be able to beat the Thunder, in my opinion. But if you can lean into your offense and really put the pressure on them, and score the ball consistently and try to take care of the basketball and stuff like that, maybe you have a shot. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. It could actually be inverted. Maybe you want to slow the pace down, but I don't really know. You know, when you consider what the Pacers are capable of doing, a lot of what it is the Pacers are able to lean into are things that the Thunder are very comfortable with themselves, if not even better than the Pacers are at these things. They can speed up the pace. They can play defense. They can, rebound the ball. They can carry the ball. These are all the things that the Pacers usually are able to have over their opponents. And the Thunder just happen to be better at them at just about everything the Pacers do. And so that's what it looks like on paper. But one thing I'll say for the Pacers is they pose a different threat than what the Thunder have been faced with. You're going up against an anemic Minnesota team whose offense is all over the place, tends to play pretty good defense. You go up against a Denver team. Well, I could argue probably is better than the Pacers in the grand scheme of things, but not nearly as deep as the Pacers, and doesn't really play great defense. Although I thought they had some moments, the Pacers are a better defense than Denver is right now. And of course, that first series against Memphis was just a wash. They swept Memphis without much of a problem there. I think the Indiana Pacers provide the Thunder a bit more of what the Thunder are themselves. It's almost like beating a team in the mirror. It's like beating your light, so to speak. And they say Thunder Light is what you call the Pacers. They're just a little weaker version of what the Thunder actually are, in my humble opinion, in terms of style of play. And so, while one would think you wouldn't have any problem going up against a version of yourself that's not as good as you, the reality is you are going up against a version of yourself. And I think that in terms of play style could provide you a bit of concern. Not nearly as much concern as the version of you that is coming up against you is going. The Pacers have much more of a problem in that area, but you still have a lot to sort through in regards to going up against a mirror image, essentially, of yourself. So I think that's kind of what this is going to be. And for the Pacers, their path has been rather interesting because they've been supported by injury help. Of course, Dame's injury in the first series against Milwaukee kind of washed Milwaukee out of here. And then the Cleveland Cavaliers, that series was washed by injuries. Now, they had a formidable opponent against the New York Knicks, won that in 6, fair and square. I think the Knicks had some issues with depth, and I think they ran out of gas. I think a lot of what went wrong was that the Knicks were a bit one-dimensional in certain areas, weren't able to throw a bunch of stuff at you. Now the Pacers have to deal with an Oklahoma City Thunder team that has just as much, if not more, depth than them, just as much speed, if not more speed than them, a better superstar, a better second co-star type thing. So it's just like you're going up against both of these teams are being faced with something real, and if they don't take it seriously, they could lose the series. Now, I don't suspect that it's not clear to all of us who the better team is. It is the Oklahoma City Thunder. It has been all season long. But the thing that the Thunder are going to have to respect is that the Pacers, though they did have 2 early series that were considered washed, they really did go up against a Knicks team and shoot them down. And you can't lollygag in these playoffs. My Lakers, game 1 against Minnesota, lollygagged in that first series, first game, we never recovered. I could argue the Celtics going up against the Knicks had 20-point leads in 2 consecutive games, lollygagged to start the series, never recovered. The Minnesota Timberwolves going up against these Thunder, shot 1,000,000 threes, didn't necessarily come in with the right frame of mind, never recovered. These playoffs, this particular year has shown me if you come out slow, it could cost you the series. Either one of these teams need to understand that. Oklahoma, though you would expect, even if they lose game 1, should be able to come back and win the series. What you don't want to underestimate is unprecedented things like big injuries shutting you down, or Tyrese Halliburton having another 35-15 no turnover type game, or tapping into that type of legendary thing for multiple games. You do not. Either one of these teams, and the Thunder I circle especially because they come in with a certain level of confidence and certainty that they are the better team. But I would caution them to say this has happened more than once in the series. Cleveland went into that series hurt, so I don't want to use them, but they were the better team going into the Pacers series in theory. The Celtics were the better team going into the New York series, and they still lost the series. The Lakers thought they were a better team than Minnesota, even though that was proven not to be true. They thought they were, and then they ultimately lost the series. So it's a lot of different series that show us this season to say the better team doesn't always win this year. And so Oklahoma City, if I'm them, you got home court advantage tonight. I come out, not stomp Indy out. I impose my will. I establish strength. I understand that I have advantages in multiple areas. I gotta crush them early. I gotta shut them down early. Because if I let them win game one, roll the ankle here with SGA, J-Dub hurts a shoulder or something like that, and suddenly you're going up against an Indy team that is capable of beating you, you do not want to start this series slow if you're either one of these teams. If you're Indiana, you have you got to be on guard because you know you're going up against a team that's better than you, and you don't have home court advantage. So you should be coming in with house money, feeling like, maybe you can catch them in the mouth. OKC needs to expect to be having this team aim for their mouth. Basically, is what I'm saying to you. You gotta come in knowing that Indy is a formidable opponent, but you are better than them, and you need to establish that you are early. And if you do that, you can put them away. But if you let them hang around, Indy's the type of team where we've said this a million times. Their attitude is the Terminator. That's what I've nicknamed this team. They don't really care what the score is. They were coming at you to try to get a bucket. They don't really care what the previous 3 quarters look like. They're coming at you to get a bucket. And that type of relentlessness, that type of next play mentality is not something that the Thunder have dealt with in these playoffs. Minnesota didn't have that. Denver to a degree, yes, but Jokic had one of the worst series we ever seen in that series. And Memphis was not a playoff team, even though they were there. So for me, I look at this and I say, the Oklahoma City Thunder are about to be tested in a very different type of way, going up against an Indy team that they are better than, but it has the DNA and the mentality of a team that really doesn't stop coming at you. They don't stop coming at you. And while you think Oklahoma City, in theory, should be the exact type of team you want to have going up against that, which gives most people confidence that OKC will win the series. But at the end of the day, OKC has to execute. They have to execute. They can't have games where they didn't shoot well. In the games that they played against the Pacers, as we've seen, they shot very well, especially in the second matchup, 132 points. They went for what? Above 43% from the three, as we already mentioned. 47% from three, 17 to 36. That's to continue. Because if you have one of them cold games like you did against Milwaukee in the championship game in Vegas for the in-season tournament, you're going to likely lose that game against a Pacer team that does play better defense than people think and can score the ball relentlessly. And so that's what I say. I don't think this is a sweep. I think if there are injuries, you expect both teams should be able to withstand them because they're deep. Both teams have plenty of a bench, which is something that I want other teams to pay attention to. When you look at these finals, these are two of the deepest teams in basketball. Being shallow don't help you anymore. I've been telling people this for years. They don't help. So that is something that I want to say, man. You got to be relentless going up against either one of these teams. If you're either one of these teams, neither one of these teams should want to have a slow start or take any possessions off. And I think both of these teams can be expected to have that mentality. This is why both of them are here. So that's what I think this could be a better series than people think. I don't know if it's going to last very long, if I'm being honest with you. I don't know if it's going to be a long series, but I do think there could be some very competitive games within this series, regardless of how long it lasts. With the roster depth on both teams, as I said, is formidable. I think what really scares you, though, is how well Chet, if you're the Pacers specifically, is how well Chet Holmgren, J-Dub, and the MVP have been playing in these last, say, several games. They've really been just stifling and being just superstars. All three of them have been overwhelmingly great, especially in the last series against Minnesota. They really just came together to be a trio that was unstoppable. And then you look at the perimeter defensive players that they have, point of attack guys like Alex Caruso, Case and Wallace. They just put a lot of pressure on you. Obviously, the door to Chamber. It's one of those situations where they're taking care of so much on the defensive end, creating so many opportunities to get in transition. And then those superstars are just putting up all-star numbers all at once. And that just makes it very difficult to see anybody stopping them right now with those three in such a good rhythm. So that's really where my thoughts are with that. And then when it comes to the Pacers, like I said, they're able to lean into that identity of we are relentless. We're not interested in the score. We're not interested in if the team is better than us or worse than us or if they have the ability to run at us just like we can run at them. We really don't care about that. We're coming and you're going to have to deal with us. and we're going to look to get a bucket every time, and our defense is better than people think. That's what the Indiana Pacers show me. There's a lot of heart in that Pacer team. There's a lot of fight in that Pacer team. They have great conditioned athletes, probably better conditioned athletes than anybody else that the Thunder have seen. And so that's something that I think is really important. When we talk about speed and pace, the Thunder are able, in 100% of these cases, to speed past everybody they've seen. They're running into a Pacer team that is able to do the same thing to all of their opponents as well. So I think this could be one of the fastest NBA Finals we've seen in the history of the sport, to be honest with you, when you consider these two teams and what they both can do in transition in the fast break. So forcing turnovers is going to be everything. I'd imagine OKC would be the better team there. That's not even close. Really, that's where the difference really is. So OKC is such a significantly great defensive team, while Indiana has just shown themselves to be formidable, if not better than formidable, defensively, especially with guys like Nembhard and Naismith providing so much point of attack defense. They're going to be players to circle, but they get canceled out by AC and Dort and those guys. So I think turnovers could be plentiful. If I'm Indiana, like I said, I'm leaning into my offense and just hoping that I can run the score up in any way, shape, or form, get as many of those main guys in foul trouble as possible to expose the Isaiah Joes and Aaron Wiggins a bit more, even though those guys are super talented too and can go off on you. You want to see them a bit more than maybe you're expecting to see them. You don't want to have to deal with Lou Dort. You don't want to have to deal with AC. You don't want to have to deal with, obviously, the big three. So that's really what it comes out to. As I said, I think Pascal Siakam is extremely important in this series. Him having another MVP of the series type series would be exactly what the Indiana Pacers need. If he has 11 points, stuff like that, they ain't got a shot. The stars of the Thunder are more reliable to be consistent and play at a higher level than the Pacers. And the role players of the Thunder are more likely to force you into uncomfortable situations than maybe the Pacers players are, even though they're all very capable in that way. So, that's really what it comes down to. There's a definitive understanding that one team is better than the other one. We haven't seen that so much in these last few rounds, but in these finals, I think it's very clear that OKC is the better team. But I would say that the Pacers have already beat a team where they weren't the better team, and that was the Cleveland Cavaliers. Injuries told a story, but injuries could tell the story in this one too. We got to see how the games play out. Physicality, officiating, all of those things could tell the story in these series. SGA, we know he's going to get to the line a lot. Tyrese Halliburton is going to have to be aggressive to ensure he does as well. I would lean into speed, man. Obi Toppin, when Jarris gets back, hopefully he'll be 100% healthy by game 2. Nembhard, Naismith, those guys are going to have to be really aggressive and assist Pascal Siakam, assist Miles Turner, assist those starters. TJ McConnell must be mentioned in this series. He's extremely important for the Pacers coming off of the bench, especially when you talk about dealing with Cason Wallace and dealing with AC, dealing with Lou Dort. TJ McConnell is going to have to put his foot down and outplay a couple of them guys himself in order for them to have this series. And that's what I'm looking at. It's those role players. Those role players on each side. The stars are going to be stars, although the Thunder stars are more aggressive in theory. But Nembhard, Naismith, TJ versus AC, Cason Wallace, Lou Dort. That's kind of how I'm looking at this. Whose secondary role starters, star guys, can outplay the others? Which trio is going to impose their will the most and assist their stars? I think that can really tell the story of how close these games ultimately are. But Naismith is coming in a bit hobbled with the ankle, so on and so forth. So that's a real thing there. Naismith, if he were 100%, or if he can get back to 100%, I think it'll have a lot to do with what happens here, especially if he's hitting efficiently from behind the arc. If he can outshoot Lou Dort and AC, that could really be a good thing, because AC and Lou Dort tend to be here and there with their three-point percentages. They can either shoot you into it or shoot you out of it. But this year has been a better year for them, and I think the spacing that their stars create has helped a lot. So, it's tough, man. It's tough to try to really gauge where Indy can really strike against this Thunder team without the help of injury issues. It's hard to see them having a chance to win this series. I like the Pacers. I'm rooting for the Pacers. I really am. Although I don't really care who wins the series that much. But if I'm rooting for somebody, it'd be the underdog in this series. It's good to have these teams in the finals. First time in my life where I see teams that are such small markets that are least expected to be here going up against one another in the middle of America. It's a good change of pace for the NBA, and I'm happy that we have these teams. I'll be supporting this series as I watch it. But at the end of the day, man, I just don't know if this could be that long of a series, man. I do have OKC winning it. I think you guys clearly see that. I can see a scenario where OKC has certain injury issues and the Pacers are able to flex. But I just see so much greater talent on the Thunder than the Pacers, even though the Pacers are also formidable and are better than most of the field, which is why I believe they're here. They're deeper than most of the field, which is why I think they're here. But it's been a definitive understanding that the Thunder are just a little better in pretty much every category. And the fact that the Thunder don't turn the ball over, but are known for forcing turnovers more than anybody else, just tells you right there that they're probably going to be the NBA champions if they're healthy. That stat is undeniable. It's an undeniable understanding that this team is gifted in probably the most important areas of basketball, taking care of the basketball and taking it from other people. So at this point, I'm going to say Thunder in 5. I don't think the Pacers are expected to even win a game in this series by a lot of people, but I'm going to give the Pacers the benefit of the doubt that they deserve a right to see themselves be successful in at least one of these basketball games, given the fact that they are relentless, given the fact they are a much improved defensive team, given the fact they also don't turn the ball over very much, and that the Thunder tend to take their foot off the gas, tend to be young-minded at times, tend to go cold at times, that kind of thing. I do think there'll be one game where the Thunder probably just won't have it. It might be game 1. But otherwise, I just feel like the Thunder are going to edge them out, maybe even blow them out in most of these games. I just don't see it. I don't think anybody does, man. I think this is one of the more definitively clear NBA finals that we've seen in recent memory. I think the Miami Heat-Denver series was rather definitive in understanding. I didn't watch a single game of that crap, though. I didn't care for that. But this one I will be watching. But I think it's very clear who the better team is. The Thunder have been at the top of the Western Conference, the more difficult conference all year long. And the Pacers just found themselves in a position to really be playing their best ball at the perfect time and took care of what was in front of them. And I think they should be extremely proud of where they're at. I said the same thing going into the Knicks series, so I could be wrong. But I think the Pacers should be extremely proud of where they're at. I think this is a raging success of a season, even if they don't win the series. And I think that with their identity and the way that they play, they should feel like they can get the Thunder if they're not focused. If the Thunder aren't serious, based on their identity and their depth and their role players and the tenaciousness that they play with, if I were on the Pacers team, I think I have a shot. I would think I have a shot. But if I'm on the outside looking in, weighing the two teams, I just think the Thunder pretty much clear the Pacers in every area except for consistency in offensive scoring. They clear them. And the thing that you can't really count on is that the Pacers' strength in that offensive scoring is going to be able to overcome the legendary defense that is the Oklahoma City Thunder. That's the problem. Now, great offense does beat great defense in most situations. But if the OKC Thunder's offense continues on the path it's on with them 3 superstars, they're also going to be able to score enough to overcome the Pacers probably in each and every one of these games. And so that's what I think most people expect. But as I said, the Thunder have to come out with a certain level of urgency to get the mental hold on this team that tends to not fold very much mentally at all. And that's what I would say. This Pacer team is a relentless beast, a very strong-minded team, a very tenacious team, with sneaky players on their bench just like you got, with guys that can play above and out of their skin just like you got. And they've been doing legendary stuff, overcoming 20-point leads and stuff like that just like you did against the Memphis Grizzlies in Game 3. So I would tell the Thunder, if you come in thinking you're going to win the championship like the rest of us are, you could be the thing that costs you this championship. Do not take possessions off. Don't underestimate the harm that can be from losing games early in this series and extending this series into opportunities to go into 6 and 7 games, because anything can happen once you let that happen. If you're definitively better than a team, you need to behave that way this deep into the playoffs. And so that's what I would say to the Thunder. I expect they will take care of it. They're a very well coached team. The Dagnall has been kicking tail all year long, as has the Pacers coach, who's won a championship as well. It needs to be said. He won with the Dallas Mavericks. And so, this is one of them situations where I just think the Pacers are just a little outclassed here, or maybe even a lot outclassed here. But I do think that the way the Pacers play and the way the Pacers identity has been throughout the course of these playoffs, I would not be entirely surprised if they make a series out of this thing. But I would be entirely surprised if they won the championship, and that's what I don't see coming. I think the Thunder win this thing in 5, and I do, if I'm being 100% honest, find myself feeling generous in giving them that game. I just think the Thunder are a better team, and each and every quarter, if the Thunder are who they're supposed to be, they're going to win each and every quarter in the series. So that's what I see here, man. It's just a definitive understanding of one team's better than the other, but that hasn't stopped the underdog from winning in these playoffs, and that's what I'll leave you with. Thunder in 5, BDL 44. Thank y'all for watching. Wow.